Thank you, Jill, by the way.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Monday night, February 28th call. We have a pretty fun call lined up for you. We've been experiencing a lot of incredible results on our new Collagen 300. And so tonight we thought we would indulge ourselves by getting to talk with my very own father, Jim Rhoades, and get to interview him and to ask him some fun questions around the collagen and educate ourselves a little bit. A couple seconds ago, right before we started this recording, I asked how many of you have actually experienced and are getting great results with the collagen, and I saw a lot of hands go up. And I said, now we get to understand what's really going on and why those results are showing up. And I thought it was pretty neat that you don't even have to know exactly why or how it works, but it works anyways. But tonight we get to pull ourselves out a little bit of that not knowing phase and get to know for ourselves. So the products are going to do what they're going to do, even if you don't know this. So these are just cherries on top. But Dad, I think we were pretty wise to have you get on here with us. And I want to start off with a question for you, if that's all right. You okay with that?
Yes, I'm unmuted.
Okay. So my question is actually in the name. And for me, it was one of the most mind expanding parts of when I learned a little bit about this from Kirsty. And that is, why do we call it Collagen 300? What is the 300 about? There are so many different brands out there saying different names and things. Why do we name ours Collagen 300? What's so significant about that?
Well, it has to do with the size of the molecule of collagen, which is actually a tripeptide. So we're going to define a few things so that all of these big words, that it'll make a little more sense to us. A tripeptide is 3 amino acids tied together. Okay, tri like tricycle, bi like bicycle.
Yeah.
Okay, and collagen is an amino acid, which means it's a protein. In fact, it's the most abundant protein in the entire body. And it's what gives us elasticity by providing the collagen and the elastin. And that makes things flexible, even though they're tied together. It's what makes it so that a muscle or a tendon or a ligament can stretch and come back. It's what makes it so the skin can move and still tighten again. All of those things are because of collagen and elastin. And that's what this product has in it, is this incredible collagen. Back to the 300. Collagen comes from several different sources, and there's marine, which ours is from marine. In fact, it's the finest and the most abundant found in the marine, which comes from the type of fish that it's taken from. There's also some taken from cow, the cow hide. There's some that's taken from chicken, from the chicken bones. But this type 1 collagen, and there's 17 different types. Type 1 does 90% of all of the needs of collagen. And we've got the one that's the big workhorse. But the 300 stands for its size, molecular size. There's receptors in the body that allow the little amino acids in, okay? And I want you to imagine when you get it from, say, the hide of a cow or the bones of a chicken, they come in sizes of about 3,000, okay? And the actual things are called Daltons, okay? That's the terminology. A Dalton can go from a large to a small, and 3,000 Daltons is about the average size of one of these collagen molecules. But the receptors to let them in, the body produces your own collagen all the way up through age 25. It produces plenty of this. And then starting at age 25, it starts to slow down and you lose 1 to 2% each year thereafter. But if you are needing a collagen that is the size of 300 or below, and you have one that's 3,000, I want you to imagine a basketball, but the receptor to put it in will only fit a BB. Which one's going to be absorbed and utilized versus which one is only partially absorbed because it can't even get in the receptor? The difference between what we have and anybody on the market, and this is interesting, two things real quickly in answering your question too. It's no small thing what the top scientists in the industry have been able to invent or to find out, or how to make these collagen molecules this small. And Kirsty Cody, director of the Zalevo Labs, works with these incredible scientists, biochemists, and people who know these things, and they've been able to not only use the science of making what's called micromolecular technology work to take the size of a 3,000 collagen down to the size of 100 to 300. So the largest one in our product is at 300 Daltons. And that's the size of the opening that you want it to be able to get in the receptor. And it doesn't matter how much you take of a product, it's how much gets in to do any good. And so the absorbability and the utility of this product is the highest probably in the industry, because it is the smallest that is available to mankind. The only thing that would be maybe superior is the one that the body makes for itself. But they're probably closer to the 100 Daltons. Does that kind of help you to know why it's a collagen 300, or is that too deep?
Oh, no, I think that was awesome. I'm curious here, just checking in with everybody else. Did that make sense to everybody else? Give me a thumbs up if that made sense, what you shared. Okay, good. When I heard that for the first time, that blew my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, I see what the difference is, because I don't see myself eating a air balloon size hamburger. You know, I don't think that would work. I don't think I'd be able to get it in. But you know, a grape makes sense. And so having a bunch of grapes getting in, that it makes sense that people are getting these types of results that they're getting. So a lot of times people will relate collagen to the biggest organ of the body, which is our skin.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, we're seeing it show up in our skin, where, the glow and everybody else is feeling good. And you're seeing different things start to show up, and that's awesome. But I'm curious if collagen affects more than just our skin. Like, how much does it really do on the inside versus what we're seeing on the outside?
Remember the most abundant protein in the entire body.
Yeah.
So our proteins break down into these amino acids. These amino acids line up in a tripeptide, which is the one that is making our collagen. Our collagen is what holds every other cell and every other thing together. It is the glue that gives you the elasticity and the movability and all of the things that we need so that we can move and operate, and it all comes back together, and it has that resilience. And the uniqueness is that what we've done here at Zalevo is target what does the heavy lifting, and it is the marine collagen. And then they took it from a large size and made it molecularly so small that it doesn't even have to go through the digestive system to get in. It can actually get directly into the bloodstream as soon as we've ingested it and it hits the intestines. It is that small. And now it also can be carried out to wherever it is needed to replace any that's already old, because you have a quality of protein. You have poor protein, making poor amino acids, medium protein, which is going to give you amino acids that are good, and then you have superior protein. And the superior protein has the ability to last longer, do a job better. If you think of an amino acid as the main building blocks to every one of the 37.2 trillion cells, then it starts to make sense that what the collagen is the structure to every one of those cells. In other words, it's the lumber that you now nail everything to, and that holds everything together when the wind blows. And if you just think of it as the finest kind of lumber, not just lumber that is just, something that'll blow over in the first windstorm, if that makes any sense, that's kind of helpful to understand why collagen is so important. And like you say, skin is the most predominant and the largest organ of the body. So where it's going to show up first is literally on your skin, because you have more cells on your skin than anywhere else. But it is hair, nails, here's a good one, bones, teeth.
It's teeth too?
It's everything. It
Wow.
creates the dentine in your teeth.
I didn't even know
It's
that.
what holds it together. This is just, when you start thinking of ligaments, tendons, cartilage, oh my goodness, how important is cartilage?
Yeah.
Do you realize that you would have a bone on a bone every time you moved your shoulders or your elbows or your knees, if it wasn't for the cartilage in between, which allows that bone to move without wearing the bone out, because the cartilage is the little padding between. It's also your entire back. It's what holds that all together. All of those little ligaments, everything that ties to it, all the muscles that move and go, every one of those are dependent on collagen to do that job. This product has that collagen in it, and this product also has the elastin, which is the other half of this protein. And those two things alone, and where I've seen some difference in me, is my bendability to reach down and put on my socks and tie my shoes without coming out with a groan. It has given me that much more mobility without the discomfort of, I go down and hold my breath, tie a fast knot, and then sit up and go, oh, that's not pleasant, versus, wow, I can now even jump down on the floor and tie my grandkids' shoes. And that's pretty awesome.
And I've seen you do that. I'm trying to keep up with you. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've been able to hear all about the collagen from you, Dad. So this is pretty amazing, just even for me on my end. This is great. Would it be safe to say then that it's crucial to have
Yes.
collagen throughout our entire system? Then, if it's the most, when you say abundant, you think there's a lot of it, but what I'm also hearing is the most crucial and required of the proteins. Is that right?
Well, unless we want to be saggy baggy, because the
Or
first
brittle.
thing it's going to show up is in the skin, obviously, because the largest organ's got the most in it. But then it's going to affect our muscles. It's going to affect our tendons and ligaments. It's going to affect our back, and the fact that it can come out and this can fall off and whatever. Yes, it is crucial. It is mighty crucial. And starting at age 25, which is what most people wouldn't think, you're thinking it's for the old people to get rid of the wrinkles and the, That's what most people think is for the skin. But it's so much more than just for the skin. It is an amazing protein amino acid that does this much work of holding us together and keeping us tight. Because as we age, it's actually like a bunch of rubber bands, okay, that are twisted, that are connected, that can stretch and always come back. But after a while, with age, they stretch and they don't come back very well. And this is giving the renewal possibility to every one of those bands to do their job like they were meant to every time we supplement starting at age 25, so that when we hit 50, we still feel and look like we're 25. Literally, it makes that much sense to me. But even more now at 74, I want that residual ability to bend and not have discomfort.
Well, I'm loving the imagery that you're sharing right now, because I think about just the principle that I love to teach on my end with the mind, being flexible with your viewpoints, being flexible to understand. It's like I go into a company, I talk about the importance of being flexible with the times, because if you're too rigid in one form, you break. And here we are literally bringing into our physical bodies the ability to bend rather than break, stretch rather than snap, right?
Yes.
And so that's amazing. I've got a little drum, like a foot pedal for my drum, and it has one of those rubber bands, and it's been sitting out there for 5 years, and so it's been deteriorating. And I know if I just slam it, it's just gonna. And if I got a brand new one on there, that thing would be perfect.
Yep.
And that's what I'm seeing in the collagen right now. And imagine every one of my cells having that bounce back, right? That's really cool. It makes sense. I think
Good
I know why
analogy.
people with Levo have got a little bounce in their step.
There you go. We actually do. But you add the credibility of what these scientists have broken through. I'm only halfway through the story of this Collagen 300.
Well, keep
because
going.
here's
Don't
two
stop.
more facts that just blow everything else out of the water. Not even close. Your body still can produce, okay, collagen, but it needs a set of 4 vitamins that many of us don't get enough of, and
Okay.
depending on our diet, and a set of 2 minerals that we often leave out. And guess what's in the formula of the 300?
Okay,
All
so
of those vitamins: vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, and biotin. What else is the 2 minerals? Copper and zinc. Now, when you add all of these, the body can synthesize its own collagen, which is the only thing superior to the supplement that we're already giving it. And wow, the end results is what it's going to do in holding us in a good stationary. I mean, a person who would really appreciate this is a chiropractor. Why do we have to go back so often? Is because our body gets out of sync and it's not in alignment, and they realign everything. But if your muscles and ligaments and tendons are doing their job and not too saggy and too baggy and too lost their elasticity, then suddenly those chiropractic needs may lessen, and all kinds of good things. And just the building of anything in the body that requires, because it's what holds every cell together. It's what gives the rigidity in the entire body. It's what it replaces and works constantly, particularly in the cartilage area that gets worn. All of those things have the ability, if we give the body the right tools, which this one just happens to have. When you add one more dimension to this, many collagens out there have the daily recommended amount in it, okay? This has something completely different than just the daily need, and that's the RDA, recommended daily allowance. Ours has therapeutic dose. Now, the next question would be, well, is that too much? Can we get toxic from it? And the answer is no. These come from such clean sources, and what is not utilized by the body can be washed out. That's the wonder of it. Whatever our body doesn't need doesn't build up and become toxic to us. Of those 4 vitamins and of those 2 minerals I'm talking about, they are key in so many other things also, but specifically for the body's ability to make its own collagen. And then when you get a therapeutic dose with one extra thing on it, hang time. Now, what the heck do we mean by hang time? Most good quality, and that's what I'm saying, top quality collagens, and there are some out there, are quite expensive, okay? And we're talking $200 to $250 for a day's usage, okay? Imagine a quality of this, which is therapeutic dose, in the $80 range for an entire day. And you only need to take 1 dose because of its lasting time, because of its molecular size. It doesn't get washed out of the body so fast, and it gets into all of the receptors quickly so that it does its work all day long. So you've got 24 hours worth when you take 1 dose, and that's pretty awesome.
And that $80 range is for a whole month's supply.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Did I
So
say
not just-
daily? I'm sorry. Yeah. That's a
But
month supply.
That's crazy to have such a price difference and have so much more. You're getting more for less. Again,
Yep. The
just like
price point of what these guys have been able to put together and source, there's nothing that even comes close to this with this price point. And the fact of what it does, and it works, we know that we have with the Ultra 30 shake the best amino acid profile. That's a fancy bunch of words to say the best building blocks in the whole wide world from our protein source. So you've got all your basics already going in every time you're taking one of those Ultra 30 shake meal replacements, because it's full spectrum. So it has all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the enzymes, all the electrolytes, everything you need for the body's base. Now you add this collagen on top of it. What you're going to do for your GI tract is off the chart with people who have GI tracts that have gone sideways. And I mean so sideways that they're in trouble with, little things like irritable bowel or leaky gut or something like that. Now, I'm not going to say we heal or cure anything, but I can tell you the body knows how to heal itself if it gets the right ingredients or building blocks. This furnishes those building blocks. The body's ability to do some repair and some rebuilding is wonderful.
Well, one of the things I want to highlight that I heard you say, Dad, was it doesn't just give us the collagen, which it is giving us, right? But it also is giving us the base things required for us to build our collagen in the 100 range. So
Amen.
we're supplementing on both sides. We're not just throwing fish at it. We're going to throw fish at it and teach you how to fish at the same time.
Whoa.
Right? So
that's a good analogy.
I like it because we're learning to be self-sustained while we're doing this and supplementing. We're providing what our body's begging for on both sides of this, even breaking it down further so that it can provide for itself.
Correct.
Oh my gosh. So this is making a lot more sense why we're seeing what we're seeing. I do know, and I'm going to let you guys know, we're going to have a little bit of Q&A here in about maybe five more minutes from now. And so if you do have questions, I saw a few over here, but it looks like they got answered in the tech side. Dad, you obviously, with your knowledge and understanding of this, what would the question be, or what do you think it is that we should know about this that I haven't asked you yet? Because I'm sure there's a good one that I haven't asked yet that would be phenomenal to know.
Probably would be, how does it taste? Everybody wants to know, does it taste like fish oil? No. All of you who have tasted it, who like the flavor, please raise your hand. Look at this. It is delicious. I don't know how they got it tasting so good, except it's got two major things in it. The zero cane sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Talk about that.
That's where the good flavor is coming from, plus the real orange and the other things that add to that flavor,
So
without adding carbohydrates.
With the zero cane, does that mean there are zero sugars in it? Like
No, it's pure cane sugar
okay.
that's been fermented with the right form of bacteria that ate up all the carbohydrates and just left the sweet.
Okay, so it has zero carbohydrates in it.
Correct.
So can we use this in conjunction with the other things like the burn or e-vibe or shakes to keep ourselves in ketosis, or would it pull us out of ketosis because of the protein?
No, it
No,
actually is. It will hold with your ketosis. It won't hold if you're doing the longer fast of wanting to get into autophagy, because even protein, which this is a high amount, and fats, which this has in it, and I got to tell you that it has a delivery system. Even though the particles are so small, the delivery system it comes with is lipo. Remember that last word.
Genesis, lipolysis?
No.
What are you saying?
It's the lipoenzymatic thing.
Oh, wow.
Okay, it's the yes, liposomal. Thank you, Kathy. That's the word. What in the world does that mean? We hear it all the time. It's in our products. It is the delivery system of the nutrients after they're broken down into the various parts of the body that need them. Lipo stands for fat. Zomo stands for the enzymes that it takes to break things apart and carry them to where they're needed. And we have a liposomal, if I'm saying that correctly, delivery system in our collagen product. Now, why in the world would we want fats in there? Well, the fats are impervious to your stomach acid, which is kind of neat. And so they put the enzymes in it so it can get past the stomach acid so that the enzymes don't get killed. Then they're released in the small intestine, where they now can grab a hold of all these little amino acids and take them out into the body. I mean, what they've thought about is not just to provide you with the highest quality of proteins or amino acids, but a way to make sure they get delivered. And again, back to the old thing, it doesn't matter how much you take of something. If you don't have a way to get it to where it's needed, most of it is wasted. This has the delivery system plus the highest quality of the proteins or amino acids we need, along with a dose strong enough, okay, therapeutic dose times 2.
Wow, double therapeutic dose.
You got that right.
Wow.
And a hang time for your body to continue to use it all day long with just taking one dose.
So I got another, like this is kind of fun, Dad. 2 questions. So I've heard it said that when we're lacking the nutrition, whether it be vitamins, minerals, or other things, one of the first things to go is our gut. Right. And so, and you're telling me that this collagen, it obviously, we know that as the most needed protein, it's going to work on that gut, but it also kind of bypasses the fact that we don't have the operating gut necessarily to start off with. It still gets in with this delivery system.
That is correct. Our gut depends on the pancreas producing the actual enzymes to come over and break things apart and carry them in. If our body is not producing very many of those enzymes, then the good that we would have gotten out of the food we would have eaten that has all of the proteins we need goes unused
Okay.
until the enzymes get there. The uniqueness of this is assuming somebody does have some issues with their GI tract. The whole rest of the body goes into starvation mode if the body cannot break things down and carry them out into the body. So your health starts in the GI tract, in the gut. It has to. But suddenly you've got a way to even bypass that because it comes with its own delivery system to both help the gut do its own healing and come back into order so it can do what it's supposed to do, which is break down, repopulate with the good bacteria, which we also have those incredible enzymes and the incredible biomes to help us do that, and then do its job of breaking all of our other foods down so we're getting the nutrition to all of the trillions of cells.
Okay. This is awesome. I want to ask a couple of questions that are over here on the side that I'm looking at. Robert had one. It says, can it renew and rebuild ligaments, tendons, and cartilage even in older adults?
The answer is it gives the best chance for that to happen that the body can do. If it's a nutritional need, this satisfies the nutritional need to go to work, to do the repair and do the building. The problem is our bodies aren't producing as much as they used to as we get older, and we're not eating things with those 4 vitamins and 2 minerals. As a consequence, we're hardly building any, so the needs aren't being met, and so we're getting a poorer and poorer place to live in, versus suddenly you're getting the building blocks to do some repair right now, plus the building blocks to build your own collagen, so that all of it works synergistically to give you a better results, faster and longer. Yes, my answer is definitely yes to Robert.
Okay, there's another person. Oh, yes.
I'm sorry. Way up in the feed, there was another question, but it ties into what he just said.
Okay.
Why do we need the extras that are in the collagen? So is that why, Jim? Because we're not getting it in the food, the additional vitamins that are in our collagen? That was asked by Kimberly.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, the short answer to your question is absolutely. That is the problem that the foods have right now, particularly in the mineral side, that we don't have zinc and we don't have copper because of what we've done to our topsoil. The foods we are buying, even if they're organic, often aren't containing the minerals that used to be there. Why? Because the pesticide that all the farmers who commercially farm to protect their produce, they spray it with pesticide. It kills all the pests. That's why it's called pesticide, side meaning death, pest death. But as it soaks down through the topsoil, it kills all the microorganisms, all the bacteria, and even the earthworms. Now, what we weren't realizing when pesticide first came out is it was sterilizing the topsoil. And that's a bad thing. Why? Because when the plant pushes its roots down into the earth, it exudes a milk sugar, which is the dinner bell to these microorganisms. As they come to eat dinner, they process all of the rock minerals with dinner, and what comes out the back end is a water-soluble mineral, not a rock. That means it's water soluble, it'll break down, and the plant can now absorb it, and we eat the plant, and we get our vitamins from
And our minerals.
And the minerals, that's the big part, the second we eat it. And because most of our foods are missing those minerals because of what we've done in our farming methods, and I can't blame the farmer, he needs to have something to take to market, but without knowing it, most of our foods are missing their minerals. And that's why I was invited to speak at Harvard. Using their own studies, I was able to show them how what is missing in our foods today, when we're eating even all fresh, is the minerals. And there are 4 things the body cannot produce on its own, cannot synthesize. The essential amino acids, that's our proteins. The essential fatty acids, that's our healthy fats. The essential vitamins, it can synthesize all of the non-essential ones. And the essential minerals, of which there are 60. And our products, the Zalevo products, are loaded with those organic trace minerals. And this product specifically has extra of the minerals that are needed to produce collagen. Bottom line, nothing
So
like it.
off of what you just said, the process then that those microorganisms were doing of changing a rock into a bioavailable or a water soluble mineral, so
Yes,
that then the plant could take it up.
correct.
That is no longer happening. And so the plant's trying to get the rock, but it's just not getting in. And
Right.
now we're eating plants without the mineral. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
And 2 things to realize. Vitamins, which are still prevalent in the plants, produce the colors.
Okay.
Minerals produce the flavors. And if you've ever eaten, no offense, California, a California tomato that looks so big and so red and so juicy, and you bite it and you chew on it and you go, something's missing. And it's the tomato. It's because there's no flavor there. You have to throw salt on it to recognize that it is a little tomato. But before, tomatoes had flavor because the minerals were there. Okay.
I really don't remember those days.
If you grow it in good, fertile soil, you will have a tomato that has flavor and smell.
Okay, right before we open it up to some Q&A real quick, I have one more question because this is just on my mind. How much would this affect? We hear the word neuroplasticity in the brain, right? Neuroplasticity, and you keep saying the plasticity of the body. Like, how much can this really affect our brain using this, Dad? Like how we think, how we grow our mind, how we process. I know this is kind of a curveball at you, but I'm curious.
Well, your brain, have you ever heard of a fat head? Okay.
Where are we going with this one?
Well, I'm not going to call you one, but it's good if you have one, because a lot of it is the fat. But the plasticity and the neural connectors and all of those little things that make up your brain has to have collagen. Just like every cell that is held together, if you took the collagen out of your heart would come apart into billions of pieces. So would the brain. So would a muscle. So would a bone. So would a ligament. So would everything. It's held together with collagen. Wow. And yes, if you're going to be making new pathways, those neural pathways, you've got to have collagen in it just to connect the 2 ends to whatever is sending this new highway between the parts of the brain that are connecting with each other. So yes, it's definitely used in the brain.
Anybody want to change their mind on anything? Want to work on something? Well, Dad, I appreciate you taking the time to answer some of the questions I've been asking. And I'd like to make sure everybody else, anyone here who has a question, gets a chance to toss one your way. So is there anyone that has a question to ask Jim? Go ahead and raise your hand. Kathy, go for it.
Jim, so are you telling us that if we give our shake to a tomato plant, maybe it'll come out with color and flavor?
Yes, actually it would.
Yes! My tomatoes were struggling in Arizona.
That's the most expensive tomato plant you'll ever grow, but the minerals are in there. They truly are. And yeah, all kinds of wonderful flavors that we've been missing for a long time in our fruits and vegetables. It isn't that the minerals aren't still in the ground. They are. A rock gets weathered. It becomes part of the topsoil, but it remains a rock until one of those little bacteria or something works on it to dissolve it and put it into a water soluble form so the plant can finally get it, because a rock will not be absorbed by a root of a plant.
Okay, we have another question over here. Kathy's on.
So I saw a question earlier up in the feed. Kimberly asked about vitamin D. I have heard so much about even those in Arizona need to take additional vitamin D with the products and the amount that is in them. Is that still a necessity to take additional vitamin, and should it be D3?
Yeah. Well, D3 is specific, yes. And unfortunately, we could easily load our Ultra 30 with D3 or D, just the entire Ds. However, you can actually become toxic on D, especially if you're a child. For an adult amount is one thing, but since our protein shakes are for sippy cup and up, at least a little mini one, in my opinion, you do not want a lot of D in anything, all right? But with that being said, you need, if you're going to get D, you also need the counterpart with it, which is calcium and magnesium, where the D3 won't be pulled in. Vitamins need minerals to absorb in the body. Minerals need vitamins to be absorbed in the body. Now, I'm sure I'm not letting any cat out of the bag, but at some point in time, I think Zolevo is going to come out with a multivitamin. Right now, D is the extra one and calcium is the extra one that you may want to go to a good health food store. And if you're going to buy a D, make sure that it has all the Ds in it, including D3, and that it has magnesium and calcium with it, or else it will steal the calcium from your bones, teeth, and hair just to try to absorb that D. So that's important to know. That's how they work. Because when you find it in nature, in a plant, let's say you're looking for vitamin C, and we know that vitamin C is so good for the immune system. It's basically the bullets for your immune soldiers, okay? So we need vitamin C, so we're constantly taking it. By the way, it's in our Zolevo product, but your body can't store vitamin C, so you need a new dose every day. But vitamin C can't get in without calcium and magnesium either. So we need these minerals, the cofactors. Whenever you go to, say, rosehip, which is a good source of vitamin C, you will find if it's in good fertile soil, it is also rich in the other two minerals. You're going to have plenty of calcium, plenty of magnesium with that vitamin C if it's that source. And people who take just straight vitamin C, it usually goes in one end and out the other. I could get really off on this, so I'm not going to go any further.
Let's not go to that joke.
Okay.
Is there, and Kathy, that was a great question. I also want to just add, everyone's environmental spaces in which they live will impact them. Just like everyone's as unique as their thumbprint, where you're living will impact is the environment in which you're standing, and your vitamins and minerals will be impacted by that. So you might need to tailor specifically to where you're living. If you're living in an area that never has sunlight, you might need some stuff to bring in some of those extra feel-good chemicals in the body that bring that up, right? So, you know, take a look at that and check in with your own body. What is it that I need? Or check in with people around you and learn from the environment in which you're living. Any other questions that anyone has? Oh, I think I see Barbara has her hand up. Is that true, Barbara? Is that your hand up in the air? Okay.
Yeah. I put it in the chat. If somebody is, like some people are going to start with just collagen.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it today, is that would it be a good thing for them to also take the E-Vibe if they were to add, would it make it go faster because of the hydration?
I love the e-vibe because what it
Yeah.
does for my body.
And for the
However,
focus and for everything that's in your
Yeah.
gut and stuff.
all of those things are a good reason for e-vibe. I really love what it does for my brain when it lights up, and the fact that it lasts so long and doesn't give me a high and then a shaky after feeling. However, when you take collagen, if you want the most absorption, you'll probably take it on a more empty stomach, so it's not competing with anything.
Okay, so that would
That's-
include the e-vibe and stuff, or you could take that.
I don't know that the e-vibe would mess with it much, but if you're gonna, I know I put mine in my shake several times, but I also realize there's other proteins in there, and it's going to go more through the GI tract. Once it starts that process, then there's not as much absorption if it's all by itself, and it just
Right.
is assimilated so quickly into the body and into your bloodstream that it's just going to give you enough. If you could take it 30 minutes prior to a meal, or even an hour, would be even better, you'll get such good utilization. You'll get a little bit more zing.
So
Good question, though.
so just to recap that, I don't think it's going to make it happen faster, but it not necessarily hurt it or make it better. But if
I
you
would
like
agree.
the e-vibe, go for it. You know, that you don't have to take it the same way every single day. There's some day you just follow your body, what you're feeling, and sometimes you do some mix and matches on these products, right?
Well, I have a couple of people that are more senior in that, but they're on a fixed income.
Right.
So that's what I thought, if we could put them into the e-vibe, that would help with their brain and focus, and plus give them the collagen.
Right. Tell them to go slow with the e-vibe, just saying if they're in their 80s, and make sure that they don't get, go a third of a stick, maybe a half, break it into 3 times a day of 1 stick, a little each time. And then once they're used to it and they know their body's adapted to it, they'll love it because, I love it.
It's fantastic. Okay, I think we have time for one more question before we wrap this up. Who's got a question for us? Anybody? Or a comment? We're gonna give it a few seconds.
This was really great. I appreciate both of y'all doing it. It was wonderful. I can't say enough good stuff about it.
Well, Carol, I'm going to pay you that $5 I owe you. Thank you so much for that kindness.
I'll be looking for it to show up in my PayPal account.
Okay, I'll send it right away. To everyone, I will just tell you this: science doesn't stand still. The uniqueness of what we have here at Solevo, because of people like Kirsty, who are working with these incredible researchers, biochemists and doctors of nutrition and master herbalists who have vast knowledge that she surrounded herself with at Solevo Labs. And then the top echelon saying, go for it. Let's not just make good products, let's make exceptional products. Every single one of our products are a standalone product. But when you put them together, the synergy that they produce is off the chart. And our bodies, I'm going to end with this statement. I know that we have a mini fountain of youth inside of us if we want to activate it. And I am sincerely telling you, a fountain of youth. David Hinton, one of my good friends, who's turned 66, 67 this year, 76, says he feels as good as he did when he was 50, 55. And he's been on the product, 3 months. The products speak for themselves if we just get people to put it in their body and let the product speak for itself. You don't need to know all of these details. It is fun. It's what I thrive on, and I appreciate being invited to share. But just go review Kirsty Cody's video on the collagen, and it'll blow you away. And I think it would probably make people lean forward if they just listen to that little 7-minute presentation of saying, I think I'd like some of that collagen. We all want to look good.
I want to feel good.
And I have to say, as I'm looking at you, you must be on something good because you're all looking like teenagers to me.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for showing up to the call tonight, and make sure to check in on our next call. I'm sure we're going to have something wonderful like tonight. So thanks so much. Love you all.